Hello, Scorpio and Scorpio rising. Welcome to the second half of Eclipse season and my attempt at explaining maybe some of the changes and shifts that you've been feeling in this last bit of time. The lunar eclipse is happening in Scorpio in your first house. Now, the first house represents our essence, our soul purpose, depending on what books you read and what way that you like to approach astrology. Some astrologers tend to think that the first house really does represent our innermost self and our path and the ways that we journey through this life and the talents and skills and character traits that will help us guide us through. This is quite an intense place to have a lunar eclipse, and also this particular lunation is also a supermoon, so it's a moon that's in its elliptical axis in the way that it circles the earth in that oval shape. The moon is very close to earth right now, so it's supercharged. An eclipse is a supercharged full moon. So in the way of the ritual of shedding or things coming to light, letting go of things that aren't serving us anymore, this is just one of the biggest that you'll experience. It is beautiful. It's not without its challenges. So we'll talk about that too. Astrologically, the sun and the moon obviously opposite to form a full moon, and then with the earth sandwiched between, causing that power shortage, that power outage. The sun and the moon in opposition have formed a very tight T-square with Saturn, which is sitting in Aquarius right now. And Aquarius is your fourth house. So if you like to think about home and roots and stability and privacy and the way that you approach those spaces, there's something kind of communal about the way that you live, even though that might sound like a misnomer because Scorpios are incredibly private and elusive and deep. But really, when it comes to sort of putting together a home space, a private space, there is something really beautifully Aquarian about the way that you do that. You do consider those that you live with and their needs and their opinions and rhythms and all of that kind of stuff. Now, for Saturn to be in there, Saturn is the planet of rules and regulations. It's the planet of restriction. Think about it this way. Saturn rules Capricorn. So think about the Capricorns that you know and how they can be maybe sometimes in a low vibration, a bit pessimistic and a bit not slow to start, but definitely trepidatious about diving in. So that's a low vibration. But also the positive things about a Capricorn is that they're very diligent and they know the rule book back to front. They've read it 5 times over before they begin the task. So when it does come to completing the task, everything's ticked off. A square is a difficult aspect. So in that way, there's competing energies up in the sky. So for this eclipse, this rebirth, that we can really look forward to. And as a Scorpio, you are the master of the rebirth. You are the master of the phoenix rising out of the ashes, the ability to transmogrify and transform yourself into the freshest, best, most truthful version as far as you're concerned. The ability to see through falsity and the ability to shed is all in you in an unconscious way. But to have the restriction of Saturn in your 4th house might cause some ruptures there as well. So it's not only your 1st house that might be affected by this eclipse. So let's prepare, let's have a look. Let's now remember, astrology is just a tool for co-creation. You are not bound by anything. It's never to be feared. That was the ancient way to fear the sky, and that was the way that the sky was revered, and we developed our relationship with the wide open spaces, which we can work on now. But you are always in control of your own life, and we use astrology and we use the tarot in order to gain a sense of understanding. We use astrology and the tarot to get us through difficult times if we need it. We don't use it as a death sentence. So let's have a look. Each tarot card relates to a certain point of degrees on the zodiac too, which is very interesting. And so for these three particular planets that are taking up all of the space and all of they're sort of running the show, this eclipse, are all sevens. At 25 degrees of Taurus, we have the Seven of Pentacles, which talks about sowing and ploughing and preparing to harvest, but waiting for that moment for it to grow, wondering if the soil is right, wondering if there's enough light or enough water, wondering if all of this was worth it. So that's the Taurian aspect that we're working with here. The Seven of Cups is the Scorpio aspect, and that is, in a low vibration, about illusion. It's about emotional choices. It's about which way to go. It's about fantasy in a lot of ways, which can be really beautiful, and it can be an exciting phase, but it's definitely one that we need to move through. And at 25 degrees in Aquarius, we have the Seven of Swords, which does talk about leaving some truths out. It does talk about deception in a way. It talks about either picking up what you can and leaving, or it talks about moments of cruelty, moments where not the whole truth has been revealed. Parts of it have, but not the whole truth. So to tie up these abstract concepts and to look at these different modes in life and to relate them to an eclipse of the soul and potentially some restriction at home, I wonder what we can come up with here. There might be a bit of soul searching that you find yourself doing over this next, and let's face it, it'll be the next 6 months to 12 months, because this is the first lunation in Scorpio on this ecliptic axis. It will go all the way through until July of 2023. So we've got a long time to process these activations and changes. And then the lunar nodes will move on, and then a different aspect of your life will be highlighted in the next eclipse season. The 1st and the 7th is big stuff. So if we remember, Taurus is in your 7th house. So if there are relationships, if there's intimacies that you've invested in that you are waiting to bloom and they have not yet bloomed, that could be something there. There could be something to that. The solar eclipse may have been a catalyst for some of this change that inevitably will happen in your relationship with others and your relationship with yourself. I wonder if there's something about an indecision about who it is that you are, or who it is that you want to become, who it is that you think is the best version of your soul to present to the world and to fulfill that yearning of a soul purpose. There could be something there, and maybe that's affecting the way that your relationships have been set up thus far, because you've presented yourself with a version of yourself or a persona that maybe doesn't fit the bill anymore. There could be some awakenings that are happening for you around this time, which is really lovely. Now, finally, I want to talk about that Seven of Swords energy and Saturn in Aquarius in the 4th house. Home should be a place where you can absolutely be yourself at all times. You should be able to run at your own rhythms. It's ruled by Aquarius, so let's face it, you are deeply aware of the needs of other people. So it's very important in an even energetic exchange to have that care and consideration given back to you as well. So if there's conversations that need to be had around this weekend, around the 16th, if you're in the Southern Hemisphere, but the next 6 months, as I said, the next 12 months, this is the opportunity for you. Look at eclipses as an opportunity to shed what has been examined and is no longer working. Now, in addition to the Decan Tarot that I'm using as a guide, I've also pulled 3 separate tarot cards just from a separate deck to fill in the blanks. And I got the Star, I got Strength, and I got the Wheel of Fortune. So this is a really beautiful, all major arcana, really positive spread to have. The Star talks about that clearing after the Tower, which represents a huge bolt out of the blue, a dramatic shift, a change, an eclipse. The Star is that moment after. The Star is when we have nothing to hide, when we're naked and free. and we are who we are, and we have the capacity to move water with our power. We have the capacity to shift water, to shift emotions, to find peace and comfort in the next phase of this journey. Strength is a Leo card. Strength talks about compassionate power over an aggressor, or over an aggressive entity, an aggressive situation, something that can be a lion that is a lion that is tamed not with violence in any capacity, but with compassion and quiet and zen. And the Wheel of Fortune talks about a brand new beginning, a brand new cycle. If we remember that we've got to throw that idea of linear time out the window and really focus in on the patterns of nature and that beautiful round circular motion, that everything, water going down a sink, the coils on a snail shell. There's so much circular motion in nature. Linear is a way of understanding time in the sense of inviting failure, or inviting to consider time as a finite resource is going to cause you stress. So the Wheel of Fortune is here to remind us that no matter what has happened here, no matter what's going to happen in this eclipse season, whatever we might face, whatever dark night of the soul, or friction at home, or indecision that we're feeling about who it is that we are, if we haven't quite landed on it yet, this eclipse, don't you worry, will absolutely guide us there, and you'll be at the beginning of a brand new, beautiful cycle. I'm going to leave this one here, Scorpio. I want to give you as much space and time to reflect and chill throughout this eclipse. Enjoy it. If you're in the southern hemisphere with me, you won't see it. It's happening in the afternoon, but keep it in mind. Like you'll feel the energy shifts, and make sure that you go out and cop a look at the full bright moon. She's shining just for you after the eclipse as well. Much love to you, Scorpio. I'm with you all the way. Head over to my website, umaruby.com, if you'd like a one-on-one reading, or if you'd like to keep updated with the two comings and goings of my life these days. It's all there. I'm going to start blogging more often too. I've had a great bunch of mini dreams that are just too vivid and too wild to leave behind. So I'm going to write about them and start sharing some of that 12th house sort of vibes, because I think we can all help one another out with the visions that we've been having lately. Big kiss. Until next time. Take care.